Common question I get all the time is, Pace, what paint color and what sheen color do you use for your properties? And in this video, I answer that question with one of my students, Maritza. She's been in my program for quite some time. She's acquiring rentals and she's like, Pace, oh my gosh, it's a constant problem with touch-ups. It's a constant problem with selecting paint colors. I'll buy a paint bucket and then I'll buy another paint bucket a month later from the same store and it doesn't match. Well, guys, I've solved that years ago. And in this video, I'm gonna answer that exact question. So check it out.
This is just a very random question. I know you've said it before, but what paint color do you use for all your rentals? Because I need to paint some of mine.
I switched over to Dunn Edwards, which you guys don't have Dunn Edwards in Florida. But Sherwin-Williams is good. But I literally straight white. It doesn't even have a color. It's the color that's already in the bucket before they tint it.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why is because we find that they change color codes over time. So let's say I have a rental property and 2 years later, I go back to the paint store and I go, I want ABC color blue, the same color blue I bought 2 years ago. They mix it. And guess what? The person at the desk mixes it different than the guy 2 years ago. Even if it's a drop of dye different. Now my guys touching up can't touch up the wall. So we do a non-tinted paint because I don't want to have any more touch-up that doesn't match ever again in my life.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm done. Here's what we do. Here's how we paint. Even our $500, $600, $700,000 flips, this is what we do. I used to do it a different way. I used to spray my trim, doors, baseboard, closets, bathrooms with semi-gloss because it's easier to clean and it's moisture protected. A semi-gloss white. Right. It would be like bright white or whatever color. I would then paint my wall color like an eggshell. Eggshell is not a color necessarily. Eggshell is actually a finish, right? Like a sheen. So we'd paint that eggshell. So it's like between semi-gloss and flat. And then we would paint all the ceilings in the house flat. That's the way most people do it. It's a 3-tone paint, right? That's how most people paint their houses. But if you pay attention, Tanisha, if you saw in here, like if you're looking at my wall, my door, my baseboard, my wall, and my ceiling are literally the same color and the same sheen. Even in a $4 million home, everything's the exact same sheen and the exact same color throughout my entire house. So whether you're touching up my door, you're touching up my closet, you're touching up my ceiling, it's the literal exact same paint.
Love it. That's exactly
what I want. And
it's
a velvet finish.
I don't know anything about this stuff. So velvet, that's, I assume, very important because you pointed that out.
Yeah, it is very important because flat is really rough and hard to wash, right? The reason why people use flat is because it's less expensive. And so people just spray it on their ceilings because they're like, well, it's the ceiling. What do I care if it's flat, right? Flat is that rougher paint. You ever touch paint which is really glossy? That's semi-gloss. And the paint that's the opposite, that's like kind of rough, that's hard to clean, that's flat. So what I do is I go to a paint that's like as close to semi-gloss as I can get without it being shiny. And that's not a color, that's a sheen, right? How glossy that paint is. And velvet is the magic sheen of all time. It's actually above satin, Caleb. It's above satin. Dunn Edwards makes velvet.
Ah, I see. Is that why you switched?
That's why I switched.
Got it.
If I'm going to like Sherwin-Williams, then I could go to a satin, which is one step down.
Got it.
So I would go if you go to like Home Depot, you're going to be able to get satin, no tint white. Satin, no tint white. I don't want a tint.